fine.
His nose knows.
For me, personally, he's the best partner I can have.
We are meeting the newest Irving Police Canine and seeing some of the training exercises he conquers with ease. Center of Change.
So it's going to put in new life into this area, into the recreation center.
Upgrades are in progress at Irving's oldest rec center. We preview what's ahead. Wild in the city.
If you grab kind of behind their jaw, they can't move their head.
Our team is on patrol with Irving Animal Services, responding to calls about urban wildlife and finding out how residents are educating themselves on the issue affecting many neighborhoods. Plus, what makes DFW's busiest runway different, and a McDonald's McDonation. Now on City Source. Hello and welcome to City Source. I'm Thomas Gandy. A lot will be new at Irving's oldest recreation center. That's because a major renovation project is underway. We went into the construction zone to get this report. So this is going to be a whole new first impression.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be something that our residents are really going to be shocked about.
But right now, the front check-in area at Center Park Recreation Center is clearly a work in progress. Most of the building is closed while a major renovation project is underway here. This entry space and office area that used to look like this will soon look more like this.
It's going to really look updated, more modern. A great first impression when you come through the door.
Another big change is underway upstairs. A little loud up here. This is where all the work is happening today.
This is where the action is happening. This is where the new weight room is going to be. Really excited about that. A bigger open weight room. It's going to have an area for group fitness. And then in the back, we're going to have individual shower cabanas. So you can do everything on this one floor.
It's the oldest rec center in town, and it's a very popular center. It's one of the biggest ones we have in the system. And right now, it just needs to have a facelift and a reorganization to better suit what's going on in the community.
And in some ways, what's old here is becoming new again.
With the original building built in 1950, we're finding some of the original columns are now going to be exposed again. The original wood on the ceiling will now be exposed.
When you look up top, there's some great wood up there, and just the open features up the rafters in the building. It's going to give it kind of an industrial feel, which is what you see in a lot of weight rooms nowadays.
How often does that happen, that you get to go into an old building and just kind of peel away the layers?
Not too often anymore. A lot of the older buildings are being torn down and people are building ground up now, so it's a lot of fun.
The second floor weight room will replace this area. We could see during a visit a year ago that it needed some work. And with this weight equipment now moved out of the first floor,
this is going to be classrooms now. So instead of having to go upstairs for some of the preschool classes, we'll be able to have them right here adjacent to the gym room.
So what types of classes are offered here?
We have preschool classes, we do classes for intermediate age children, and then we have some adult program classes as well. So we have a wide range of programs and services that we offer for all of our residents.
And the opportunity for more people to get involved now.
The opportunity for more people to get involved.
Federal Community Development Block Grant funds are paying for this renovation project.
This is going to be dollars that are spent to help renovate the facility. This is a great project to provide a much more opening, welcome, and efficient experience for our guests when they come in.
One other change involves this feature. The Irving Sports Hall of Fame is moving to the Irving Archives and Museum, which is now under construction at the former Central Library.
There's a lot of great things going on in the city, and Center Park is another great example.
It's going to be a really good project. I think the residents are going to be really pleased.
The exterior will remain the same, but there will be plenty new to see inside when Center Park Recreation Center fully reopens. That is scheduled for late this summer.
So it's going to put in new life into this area, into the recreation centers.
And the work does not stop at Center. Georgia Farrow Recreation Center is expecting to get a major expansion and renovation, which will include the addition of a second gym. It will also be funded through the Federal Community Development Block Grant Program. Irving Police are expanding the number of feet on the beat by putting more paws on the pavement. Last fall, we introduced you to Ritter, a trained therapy dog now stationed at the police department's Family Advocacy Center. There, he works to comfort young crime victims. At about that same time, a police canine named Jitsu started serving in the department. We caught up with him and his handler at a police training facility.
This is what I've always wanted to do since I got into police work. Since before I was ever a police officer, I've always wanted to be a dog handler. Good dog. I'm Officer Jody Jones with the Irving Police Department. This is Canine Jitsu. He is a 2-year-old Czech Shepherd. Irving Police Canine! If you're in here and don't come out, I'll send my dog and you will be bit. This is how Jitsu would be deployed if we were doing an alarm or a burglary call where we thought there was somebody still inside. We would deploy the dog into a dangerous situation like that as opposed to a human because he's a little bit quicker and he can find things a little bit faster than us. Is that him? Good dog.
They allow us to do some things that just from a human standpoint we can't do. Dogs obviously have a better sense of smell, keener sense of hearing, and can go places we can't always get a police officer into.
Oh, he's a good. That's a good dog.
I, Canine Jitsu, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties as a police dog for the city of Irving.
So our swearing day back in October was a super proud day for me, and getting there and having him and getting him sworn in and getting him a real badge number, it was kind of an accomplishment of a dream.
Congratulations. Jitsu and Officer Jones are beginning to learn the ropes with Officer Hamilton and Barron being that mentor group.
Aaron Hamilton runs Canine Barron. Barron's been in service for about 4 years. He has been involved in some really serious stuff here in Irving, saving officers' lives.
That's a buddy.
There's always that element of danger for both the dog and the handler.
What a guy.
Much more friendly than my dog. Shut up. He's very defensive. He just kind of lets people know that he's not a pet. He is definitely a working dog, and he wants people to respect him.
Now, when he first met you, what did
He growled at me. He can be very intimidating. He greeted me with that low growl, and I thought, okay, buddy, well, I'm just going to give you some space. And he did not recognize the stars on my collar at all.
When we're at the house, he's actually more relaxed and more social.
What a lot of people lose sight of are these are still animals. They're still dogs, a man's best friend. They still want to be loved on. They still want to be taken care of.
Police canines are just more than just big, mean, biting things. With him, he's certified to find marijuana, ecstasy, cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamine. He'll get his nose up in the air and he'll follow his nose to it. He's not even using his eyes, and then when he finds it, sticks his nose on it and sits his butt down. Good dog.
Our residents should see this program as something that heightens their level of security. They're very competent in what they do.
Boy, let's go, friend. You won. Come on, friend. For me, personally, he's the best partner I can have. I know exactly what he's going to do because I trained him to do it. He'll ignore you. He's got what he wants. Good boy. And I know that he is loyal to me as it comes.
Good boy.
Great to spend some time with them, and Chief Spivey says he plans to expand the canine program over time to 6 dogs and officers. Now, there is one thing we were asked not to show in that story, and that's the specific commands the officers give their dogs. And there's an interesting reason why. Those commands are spoken in a couple of foreign languages. So if a bad guy were to yell stop, for example, the canine would not give up because that is not a word he would recognize. Officer Jones and Jitsu were among hundreds of first responders and volunteers participating in an emergency training exercise at the Toyota Music Factory Concert Pavilion. What would happen if violence broke out during a packed concert? We will have extensive coverage of that event and the lessons learned next time on City Source. Remember, you can catch up on any police stories you may have missed by checking out our Irving Police playlist at youtube.com/thecityofirving. A lot of residents raise concerns when they see wildlife in their neighborhoods. A diverse range of animals are native to the city. Brett Wheeler looks at ways people are educating themselves about the topic, and he rode along with Irving Animal Services as an officer responded to calls.
As Irving Animal Services officer Brittany Polk gets into her truck, she knows things could end up getting a little wild.
I've got 4 traps that are currently pending. All of them happen to be wildlife.
More on those traps in a minute. But with all the growth going on in Irving, experts say encounters with wildlife are getting more and more frequent.
About 50% of our calls are about the urban wildlife we do have here in Irving. So we get a lot of questions, some concerns, some tips on like, what should I do? Can I remove them?
And with more run-ins with things like rodents, snakes, and other furry friends, it's no wonder residents are interested to find out where the wild things are at this meeting at the Valley Ranch Library.
The more common ones here are going to be your mammals, your cottontail rabbits, the fox squirrels. More unseen are going to be raccoons, possums, the coyotes, and the bobcats. They're all still here. They're just, some of these are better at staying out of sight than others.
Chris Jackson has spent a lot of time studying urban wildlife. But unlike Irving Animal Services, the only capturing he is doing is with his camera, photographing and documenting hundreds of animals for his website, dfwurbanwildlife.com.
Photographed this one early one morning. He was working his way down to the creek to get a drink. I call it the common and the uncommon. So I covered stuff that people may encounter with some frequency and other species that are hardly ever seen, that you have to work to see here in the Metroplex.
Trying to stay out of sight is the name of the game for most urban wildlife, but when someone sees things like coyotes and bobcats, well, that could be a little more than just a nuisance to neighbors.
Usually though, we advise if you see those guys, we have a technique, it's called hazing. So if you see them, scare them off. So either spray them with a water hose, make a lot of noise. It sounds silly, but get pots, bang them together. The more uncomfortable you make them, the more they will not want to be around the area and they're gonna move on.
The hazing technique is a very effective way to discourage bigger wildlife from staying around for too long. But for smaller animals that don't want to move on so quickly, residents can request live traps to be placed on their property from the city.
We rent out live traps to our Irving residents for free. They get to have that trap for 2 weeks. They just come to the shelter, bring an ID with your current Irving address on it, pick a trap up from us. You can go home, set it, and then you just call us and then us officers will come out, we'll service it, we'll remove those animals, and we'll relocate them for you.
One of those traps caught this possum hanging around this South Irving home.
So these guys, they're pretty simple actually. If you grab kind of behind their jaw, they can't move their head. They're actually pretty docile. Possums are very beneficial to have. They kill snakes, mice, anything we technically don't like and are fearful of, those guys kind of eliminate them for us. They actually cannot carry rabies because their body temperature is too low. There's like a 99% chance that they will never have it.
But before we could release this one, Officer Polk found out this possum had another surprise.
She's actually a mom, and those are her little babies.
That will soon be contributing to the ever-growing wildlife population in Irving.
These wildlife, they are very beneficial, and I think it's a good thing to kind of keep in mind that it is okay to coexist with them, just do it the right way.
Brett Wheeler for City Source.
In our ongoing series on infrastructure, we visit DFW Airport to see the first full runway refurbishment since the airport opened back in 1974. Take a look.
It's my pleasure to announce the substantial completion of runway 17 Center 35 Center.
We are actually standing on what will be the busiest runway of one of the busiest airports in the world. How cool is that? We actually tried to get everybody lined up on the numbers. So a very important aspect to runways is what we call a runway designation. And that's what the pilots use to identify which runway to land on. We had people actually standing on that to kind of create this image of people forming the designation. So that's pretty cool.
This year, DFW International Airport is expected to handle over 70 million passengers. With this record growth comes the importance of having infrastructure that can operate safely, securely, as well as efficiently.
This is one of the first runways we'll be doing over a long-term infrastructure program. You may be familiar that we invested a lot of money in our terminals. We did the terminal renewal infrastructure program. We have just finished that. Now we're really focusing on horizontal infrastructure, which includes our runways, our taxiways. All of this infrastructure is upwards of 40 to 45 years old now, and it's time for us to reinvest. This is the very first runway we've reinvested in. I think it's going to serve us well for years to come.
Yeah, and some people have been asking about the choice of asphalt over concrete. Construction crews used a special mix of asphalt that can withstand temperatures up to 190 degrees, and it was tested throughout construction. In other news, South Irving will be the focus of the next town hall meeting. It's a chance to hear from city leaders and get updates on projects. The meeting is Thursday, March 28th at 6:30 p.m. at the Heritage Senior Center. We have several developments to report as the city prepares for the May 4th election. The ballot will include a measure that, if voters approve it, would allow for the sale of all alcoholic beverages in stores for off-premise consumption only. This would be an expansion of current law that only allows for the sale of beer and wine. Also on the ballot, 5 Irving School Board seats and 3 City Council races. For those City Council seats, we have the list of candidates to share with you. First, the races that are unopposed. For single-member District Place 1, incumbent John Danish is the only candidate. He is an attorney. For single-member District Place 7, it's incumbent Kyle Taylor. He is the CEO of a nonprofit. Now to at-large District Place 2. There are several candidates. A drawing determined the order in which they will appear on the ballot, and here are the names in that order. Cheyenne Elahi is an attorney. Dinesh Mali works in engineering. Radwan M. Saleh is a regional director. Jesse Kohler lists his occupation as veteran and student. Alan E. Meager is the incumbent. He lists his occupation as retired and student. Now to the dates to keep in mind. Early voting begins on April 22nd. Election day is May 4th. The city secretary's office can answer election questions. That number is 972-721-2493. Keep Irving Beautiful is registering volunteers for one of its big annual events, the Don't Mess with Texas Trash Off and Great American Cleanup. It is part of a program happening statewide throughout the spring season. And while in the spirit of helping, participants are also encouraged to bring canned food that will benefit the Crisis Ministries food pantry. The trash off will be at Trinity View Park from 9 a.m. until noon on Saturday, April 6th. KIB provides supplies, lunch, and will even have prize drawings. Register at cityofirving.org/KIB, then look for the link on the left. The reopening of a McDonald's in Irving gave some in the Irving Police Department a reason to say, "I'm loving it."
It's great. Anytime we can partner with our corporate partners to help the citizens of Irving and make the city a safer place, it's a win for everybody.
That $2,000 donation to the Irving Police Department came as McDonald's at State Highway 183 in Esters reopened after about $2 million in renovations. Now everything is new. The Irving Chamber of Commerce joined the celebration with a ribbon cutting.
Irving's been a great city. It's been a pleasure doing business, and it taught us a lot to begin with as being an owner-operator of one of these restaurants.
Larry Ingram opened this Irving restaurant back in 1983. It was his first, and since opening his first restaurants in Irving, he has since expanded statewide and now owns 20 McDonald's. His experience with the McDonald's Corporation stretches back a half century.
Who would have thought it from 15-cent hamburgers we'd be where we are today?
I know I was driving around, got here a little early, driving down the road to Hard Rock and around all the new homes that are being built behind you, and I look for you to be very profitable.
This building is much larger than the one that was here previously and offers all of the modern features, including ordering by kiosk. The updated restaurant also offers meeting space for 35 people. The Toyota Music Factory will be sharing the spirit of St. Patrick's Day for the first ever Sham Rock and Roll. Restaurants will have food and drink specials on Sunday, March 17th. In addition, there will be performances from a Celtic rock band and an AC/DC tribute band. That's from 3 until 9 p.m. on the Texas Lottery Plaza. Other activities include a kilt contest and giveaways. Parking will be free for this event. Along with that St. Patrick's Day event, there is a lot of free entertainment coming to the Texas Lottery Plaza as part of the Party on the Plaza series. You see some of the upcoming dates and times on the screen. For more, visit toyotamusicfactory.com. The Toyota Music Factory is owned by the City of Irving and operated by the Art Group. Now it's time for our Pets of the Week. Here's Brett at the Animal Care Campus.
Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Pets of the Week. I'm Brett Wheeler. This is Michael Whiteside, and Michael, who do we have here?
This handsome guy here is named Charlie. He is brand new to DFW Humane Society. He is about 3 years old. He's a miniature schnauzer, and he was actually an owner surrender because they couldn't afford him. We did find out that he is heartworm positive, so he'll be starting treatment probably next week, and then he'll be available to go home about 30 days after he starts treatment. So you can still come meet him, but he won't be available to go home for about a month.
All right, Michael, and now I see you have Izzy in your lap. She has a lot of energy. Tell me about her.
Izzy is about 5 months old. She is a lab mix. She's definitely all puppy. She's got a ton of energy. She's a lot of fun, though. She's really smart. She knows some commands. Whoever comes and adopts her, they're going to want to make sure they have time to spend with her, to expend some of that energy and just help her. She's going to be an awesome dog. She just needs a little bit of teaching and somebody spending time with her, running her around and getting some of that puppy energy out.
Just sitting here with her just for a few moments here, it seems like she'd make a really excellent exercise partner.
Oh, most definitely. She loves to run. She loves to play, and obviously she loves to sit in laps, so she's kind of got the whole package. She can take her out for a run and then go home and just sit back and hang out on the couch watching some TV, and she'll be just fine.
All right, Michael, I could not think of a more perfect name for this dog than Goliath. So tell me about Goliath.
Yes, Goliath is definitely a true Goliath. And unfortunately, that's how he ended up in the shelter. He was an owner surrender because they decided he was too big. He's a Lab Pyrenees mix. He's about 3 years old. He definitely is smart. He knows some commands, he knows sit, but he's just kind of a big, goofy guy. Once he's out running around, his long legs and his slender body, he just kind of looks a little gangly when he's running around. But he's so much fun. He loves to play with toys. He loves to fetch, and he just really enjoys being out and about and hanging out with people. As big as he is, he's got a lot of love to give too, so he's going to be perfect for just about any family, I think.
Well, obviously he's a great dog, and he probably needs a lot of exercise as well, and so that means a lot of walks. So speaking of walks, the DFW Humane Society does have an event coming up where people can actually bring their dogs out and take them for a walk. Tell me a little about that.
Yeah, one of our annual fundraisers, Wag, Walk, and Roll, and we're very excited this year because that's our major fundraiser, but we're also combining this year with the Pet Palooza vendor fair with City of Irving Animal Services. They're both going to be on the same day, May 11th, so go ahead and mark your calendars for that, and they're actually going to be off-site this year. So Pet Palooza is going to be at Sam Houston Trail Park in North Irving. The walk will start out at T.W. Richardson Grove Park and end up at Sam Houston Trail Park. So we'll have more details, vendor forms, all that stuff coming up here in the next couple of weeks, but go ahead and mark your calendars for May 11th.
Those two events are probably one of my favorites to go on in the city of Irving during that time, and to have them combined just makes me really excited for that. So please make sure to find out more about those events. Back to you, Thomas.
All right, guys, thank you. The Animal Care Campus is located at 4140 Valley View Lane. It is open Tuesday through Friday from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. Then on Saturday, the hours are 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. Also, check out the websites you see on your screen for more adoptable animals. We have a lot of big stories coming up for you next time on City Source. As we mentioned earlier, we'll have a lot of coverage of a training exercise at the Toyota Music Factory. Find out how police officers, firefighters, and others are prepared to respond to emergencies at the concert pavilion. And city leaders join with school children to celebrate the opening of a new playground. Those stories and more next time. Remember, you can always email us your thoughts on our stories. The address is ictn@cityofirving.org. Also, visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thecityofirving. Subscribe and you can be among the first to see our videos when they are posted. Also, leave us some likes while you're there. And that's it for this edition of City Source. You're leaving now with more of the work underway at Center Park Recreation Center. Thanks to everyone who's a part of this one, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.